Hey guys, welcome to the second part of this tutorial where we will be making an animated fireplace in Blender. Before we start, I wanted to tell you guys that most of the textures you see me using in this tutorial are from Quixel Bridge. There are a lot of other free texture websites where you can get the same kind of textures, but I wanted to say this before we start on the tutorial. Alright, with that out of the way, let's start, shall we? Alright, before we actually start with the fireplace, I wanted to show you guys the basic technique that I'm using for basically every part of this tutorial. There is one thing with the inside of the fireplace that's going to be a little bit different because we're going to add something to that to get that burnt type of texture to it. But for the most part we will be using this technique where we will unwrap the object, add the texture to it and add a coordinating map to it. So I'll be showing you that right now. So basically when we select an object and go into edit mode, we see all the faces, of course. We can hit U and then we can unwrap the object. We basically use cube projection for nearly everything. I think it's for everything, yeah. So hit cube projection, and before we add the texture to it, I want to make sure you guys have Node Wrangler on. So go to preferences, go to add-ons, type in Node Wrangler, and you'll see it right here. Make sure this box is checked because it will speed up the process very much. So after we have unwrapped it and enabled Node Wrangler, we go to the shader editor, like here. Make sure you have a material on it. If you don't have one just yet, just hit the object and you'll see this new button which creates a new material. If you have downloaded your if you have downloaded your textures, you probably end up with these, which is most of the time you get a albedo or a diffuse, diffuse, yeah, a roughness, which is here, and a normal map. The roughness, AOE, AO, sorry, the diffuse, AO, and albedo and displace are not always there, but these three are mostly there, so we'll be only using these three in the tutorial anyways. So what you basically do is just drag it in here, and the diffuse just goes into color, and if we go to rendered mode, then you'll see it's textured like this, and because we have unwrapped it in a cube projection, it's textured very nicely. We don't really have to do a lot to change it, but the reason we have Node Wrangler on is that if we hit this texture and then hit Ctrl T, we can get a mapping node and a texture coordinate very fast without every time adding it to the shader itself. And as you can see, it's directly into the UV map, which we just unwrapped. So yeah, we basically do it like this. We add a diffuse, then we'll be adding the roughness and the normal map. The roughness will go into roughness, of course, and that will control how rough something is or how reflective something is, basically. And the same for the normal map, goes into normal, but then we will add you can add nodes with Shift A and then search for a bump map and plug it in between here, and then instead of the, I don't know why it does this automatically, it puts it into the normal plugin. We have to plug it into the height, and that will give us a bit more fake displacement. Basically, it makes it a bit more realistic. If you don't like it to be this harsh, Then just lower the strength a bit. And lastly, don't forget to also put the mapping into the roughness and of course into the normal. After that, if you want to control the bricks, because now they look pretty small basically, we add a value node to this and plug it into the scale, and with that we can actually control the size of the bricks basically. Don't make them too small, because then the texture will repeat itself. But yeah, something like this looks pretty good. Lastly, we can control the roughness with a color map. So Shift A to add a node, and then color map. Color ramp. Make the dark, the black color a bit less dark, something like this, and the white a bit darker, and then just play around with the colors. Less. Alright, so yeah, this is the basic technique we will be using. Of course, the specular can also just be very close to 0, because these are bricks and they don't reflect that much. But yeah, that's the basic technique we'll be using throughout this video. So yeah, this explains it pretty much. I hope you guys will enjoy the rest of the video. Be sure to pay attention at the part where we will create the inside of the fireplace, because that technique I'll add something to it. So yeah, good luck. Alright, like I explained, we will unwrap this wall in a cube projection and add a light so we can actually see what we are doing. Yeah, so that little part before this was basically a little tutorial on how we do the rest of this video. Yes, just make sure that you unwrap everything and use the basic techniques that I showed you in the beginning, because these are very important to create the same scene basically. So like I said in the beginning of the video, way in the beginning, I got my textures from Quixel Bridge. This is just one of the platforms where you can get free textures. Quixel Bridge is free if you don't, of course, sell them or monetize anything that you created with Quixel Bridge. So yeah, for this it was basically alright, I guess. But there are a lot of royalty-free textures out there. I will put some in the description for you guys to check out if you actually want to monetize your work. Yeah, so basically everything I said in the beginning part of the tutorial applies to nearly everything out here. For the metal frame, border and fence inside of the fireplace, I just basically used a simple scratch map or scratch texture, and that I plugged that one into the roughness, used the basic same technique. I also plugged it into the base color to get like these lighter metals in there, and then just bumped up the metallic slider to make it, of course, metallic. So now we arrived at the part where we actually work on the inside of the fireplace. As you can see, I first off added just a basic brick texture, and then I found a brick texture that was more burnt or like darkish, and I wanted to combine these two, and I did this through a mix RGB node. which you will see in the video. You can actually just slow down the video to see every step I actually took. But yeah, it's just basically mixing the brick texture with another brick texture that's more burnt. And then for the factor, I used a Musgrave texture with a color ramp to control basically how close and how the transition from burnt to basic brick texture will go. So yeah, that's basically it. Then I added this mixture of these two textures to the roughness and of course the bump. But yeah, if you slow it down, you will see exactly what I actually did here. I added a light in there just to see what I was actually doing in the fireplace, because it was very dark in there. I couldn't see anything. After that, I started working on the logs, which I used the same technique on as the inside of the fireplace, which was just basically combining two textures. This one was a little bit harder to get right. So, but yeah, if you slow down the video, you can see exactly each step I took to create this. So yeah, I will also add some pictures in the video after finishing each texture to show you the whole node system and how it looked at my end, so you can actually see how the nodes are connecting to each other. Yeah, but yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something from this video, and hope to see you guys in not the final one, one before that, where we are going to, or where I'm going to show you how to animate the fire. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, if you learned anything, drop a like, subscribe to be notified when the next part is coming out. And yeah, see you guys.